Just a reminder, today's conference is being recorded.
Okay. Hello, everybody, for the next session of the XStepCafe. Together today with me is Peter Vogel and Michael Rupp. Maybe Michael, since you're a first-time visitor, maybe you just present yourself and tell us a little bit background and what you're planning to do with XSteps.
Okay, well, I work for a solar cell company called Spectra Lab. We are a subsidiary of Boeing. We used to be part of Hughes, but now we're part of Boeing. We've been using SAP for 11 years. We started off from the very beginning with PI sheets, but they were the list-based PI sheet. A couple of years ago, we tried piloting the browser-based PI sheet, and everything seemed to go well at the beginning. The trouble was then we piloted it out on one of the lines, and after about a month, without them telling us, the performance degraded severely to the point where it was taking 4 to 5 minutes for a sheet to load. And then by the time we were notified that there was something wrong, they were really sour on them and told us, don't even try to fix it, just give us back the list-based PI sheet.
Boy.
So we want to try it again with XSteps, but
maybe you found my article there on the performance.
I haven't. I was watching one of the other recordings where you mentioned it, but I haven't watched that one yet.
Just look for it in the blog. There's a blog article on performance as well, and we touched here and there also on the performance issue. And I wonder what the setup was when that happened in your case. Did you have a lot of data in the PI sheets, a lot of tables filled with a lot of lines or something like that?
No, it wasn't that bad. They were still pretty simple.
Okay.
So I'm not sure because we never really, did a full investigation. It was before we did I think we were on 4.6C at the time. We are now on ECC 6. We don't have any of the enhancement packs in yet, but we are going to be going up through enhancement pack 4 in March.
But we are running from Abbott PI sheets as well since a long time, but since more than 2 years in a big quantity, and we do not have big performance issues. So our COM-H and COM-E table is pretty big, so we were very interested in the archiving stuff that you and your colleague presented, and we are just running it in production environment. But currently, I did not hear of big performance issues.
So one of the first things to do with performance in PI sheets is to look at certain tables, POC-DB value, for example, and COM-E, COM-H maybe as well, but those POC-DB type tables, if there are very big tables for some reason, that might just slow down the database. But if you say that you don't have so much in it, did you have a lot of PI sheets there, or just a few? Or?
It's hard for me to say what's a lot, really. Like I said, it was only one pilot area within our company.
Okay, so not hundreds of PI sheets per day or something like that.
No.
No. Oh. That's strange. I mean, that shouldn't happen. and there are many customers who run fine, really. So with
I know.
also more complex setups than you might have. So, but of course, it's a good idea to test your setup over a certain period in time, do things, create more stuff there.
Yeah, well, we will this time.
Okay. Good. Maybe Michael, you started quite fresh now with XSteps, and you had some problems with the library. Maybe do you want to tell us a little bit on your experience and what happened and what did go wrong, if you don't mind?
Well, yeah, I think that the main thing that went wrong was I didn't spend enough time reading the documentation. There are two documentation documents, really. There's the installation guide and the documentation. And so I just sort of jumped in and started trying to do it. And one of the problems I had was there are different import functions. There's an import up in the main menu, and then there's the contextual import to import folder. I was trying to use the wrong function. To import the library was the main problem there.
Okay,
so after going back and we had some exchanges, I went back. I reread some of what was in the documentation, and everything worked fine then.
So like. You did try to import it here, like that?
No. Up in the main menu where it says, I think it's under XSteps.
Okay.
Up there, import.
Import export. Okay. I believe that's what you would do here. Import the whole SXS repository, and that's not entirely the same that you would do with importing a library. The library, because what you figured out to do is you need to change somewhere here, create a new folder, and then there you have to import an SXS folder, not a repository. So the importing of the repository, that's something like give it an initial shot. So if you've prepared something in one system, and then you might want to import the whole stuff into another system completely, right? So that's what it meant to be, and not importing part of it like the SXS library. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Right. For what I wanted to mention for today's meeting, I've been very busy lately, so I didn't have any time for preparing any topics. So this will be some more a show and tell session, and we just improvise a little bit, which happened to be in some of the last sessions like that, quite a good experience. So of course we are now only 3 people, but let's see what we can do anyway. But that of course means that Peter and you, Michael, I'm all yours. So you can ask questions, and I can try to show you some things ad hoc. So if you want,
I do have a question. It's an old question, I think. If I'm downloading on my local PC the XSL style sheet and just one XML example which I created out of a PI sheet, I can present it with my browser. I can see everything, but if you are working with a style sheet program, something happens. If you are clicking on something, you take F4, and I'm still wondering how is it done, that there are functions done in background? How is the connection?
Well, okay, that's a real good question, and I don't have a 100% answer to that. The thing is, there are a lot of JavaScript functions there which are called from within the HTML coding that is generated by the style sheet. So it goes like that. You have got the XML. You load it using the style sheet, the XSLT style sheet, which also uses the CSS style sheet for formatting stuff. And in the end, you get internally something in HTML. Okay. Additionally, in this whole structure, you have several JavaScript functions that do some magic. And that magic is just this browser framework, and it's a quite complex framework which then does the communication to the backend, which is the ERP. and I don't have any clue how that works in detail. So that has been done by some experts who designed all this thing. It works, but of course it doesn't work offline. So if you download all this and present it in your browser offline locally, it won't work.
Yeah, and I know the technique of the BSP business server pages, where you have in foreground you have a HTML, and in background you have the connection to the SAP. So we do have one or another application where we are using this, and I was still a little bit wondering because somehow I think there is magic. To get an info about this magic would be interesting, of course. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I can. That's really
no
the real internal stuff of the PI sheet, and
okay.
I didn't really. There is, if you really dig deep into the documentation, there's quite some things to find there about the browser framework and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe you can try to dig in and see what you can find. But anyway, that's not meant to be used really to sort of tweak things around.
I would never. Yeah, okay. I'm not supposed to say anything without my lawyer.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm still currently we are preparing a new project for some time, and I'm still waiting until we get to the setup of the XStep part of this project. So whenever I find time, I'm testing something in XSteps. And what's really a big enhancement compared with 4.6c are the commands and events part, which is not available on 4.6. It comes with 4.7, I think.
Yes, exactly. I mean that is really pushing the whole technology of the browser-based PI sheet to a level where you can do some limited things of manufacturing execution, because you can give your PI sheet more logic, and it can react to some things, to certain things, lock or unlock things. So that's really something which is very, very good.
Yeah.
And actually, there's also a question on which was posted on the blog here. And it was Omar. He wanted to know how to use the commands and events to do this sequence enforcement. So maybe if we have time left over, we can try to set up something really quickly. But I tend to give priority, of course, to those people who attend. So if anybody else has any question, then please do so. Maybe Michael, do you have anything that is still unclear to you?
I have a couple of things. I sent you, first of all, a couple of things in an email that I'm still having a little trouble with. One was on the standard XStep sample checklist.
Yes, the checklist.
I was getting errors that I really didn't understand, that were saying that the XStep reference can't be exploded.
Yes, I will try to show you something. Yes, okay. Maybe you can just go ahead with that, because that's actually a thing you need to know, and I think it should also be in the documentation. Blink, blink. But let's see. I need to bring this up in a different way. So sorry, I need to first prepare some things here and get the library onto my home folder here. Hold on. I'll try to do that here in this. Let's name this folder here. SXS library. And hopefully I can do that here. Import SXS folder, and should be no, yeah, that one here. And how is it called? SXS library. There it is. Okay. So that's again for the audience. So if the library comes in 3 different files. So there's the basics file, there's the advanced file, and there's the complete file. Any file which is not the basics file requires additional work before you can import it. That is creating characteristics and creating function modules in the Z namespace. So that's why I'm really choosing the basics library here. And here we go. And there are also several messages, and so it means they will be created with their original ID. So that means whenever it's possible, it takes over the original GUID, which makes it easier if you re-import something and you've referenced to a certain SXS to that newly imported stuff, that it finds it again. Because if it's always importing it with a new GUID, then it's always a new item, and when all your references won't work anymore. So that's what it tries to do here. And this is all green. One other concept here is, and that's very important for your question, Michael, when you import such a library, all your standard XSteps are in process. So they are not usable. You have to release them, and you have to. And the reason for that is you have to check whether it's all okay. And so this is something you still need to do. So that's why it's all in process. So that you have to touch everyone to check whether it's okay, and then you can set it to release then again. Yeah? And the only case in the library where we used an SXS inside another SXS is the checklist. Yes.
Yes.
And where that's the checklist here.
Okay, I understand.
And here you see we've got 2 SXS, and this is the actual checklist, and that's the one we need for this checklist. So what happens here is I've got these here, and see SXS check table line element. So that's exactly the name above here, and and that one here is you see normally you see the location of your reference here, and it's not seen right now.
Right.
So what you need to do before you can use that is you need to change the status here to released. Let me save here, and then the reference is there, right? So that's what is most probably missing. Did you do that?
I did not do that. I'm sure that's the problem. Thank you.
So that's something you need to take into account. Yeah. Okay, so that's about the checklist. So any other question you had? You said you had multiple questions.
Well, the other one had to do with playing the AVI file, which.
Okay.
When I set up the JPEG.
Just hold on a second, Peter. Did you have a question on what I just showed right now?
No, I was. There are imported advanced SXS, and there are lots of function calls. And is there a documentation available?
Yes. In the when you download the library, there is a zip file, and in the zip file there should be a Word document or a PDF document which describes what you have to do, and it also should include all the coding lines for your function modules.
Okay. As far as I remember, what always helps me a lot if I have an example in some documentation. But
that should be in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I can confirm that is there. I did see that.
Great.
Okay.
So I do read some of it. Wink, wink.
That's that's why I like this session, because people interact and they can confirm things and that's really nice. So, okay, so but
all the code is there, and it's there in so that you can just do a single click and it will highlight the whole thing. You cut and paste it in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, Michael, you were asking about the AVI element and the path you need to set there. Maybe just let me just create one very quick here, and so that we can have a basis for discussion.
Right, I was able to get AVIs to play, but I did it by basically inserting a HTML fragment with an embed statement.
Yes. Honestly, I'm always using HTML elements because I know there are these special elements, so like hyperlink, screen, object. So these three things, I never use those. I think they were meant to ease to prevent people of having to use HTML code. Yeah, but on the other hand, it means they are very inflexible. So you just add them, and then they're at this position, and there's no way you can really control how they look like. Right? So I don't know. Is it screen or object that you use there for the AVI?
It was whatever was in the example on the library.
Object. Yeah. Here you see that you can choose many things here like that, and then the only thing you need to do here is to enter the link to that object. It might be a web link or a file link. That how you did it. And
that's how I did it.
And
it was already there as an example. All I did was change the link to point to.
Oh yes, you're right. There's an example. Yeah, correct. I could have spared my time here. Output. I think. No.
Yes, in there.
Do you know where it was?
Output data.
Output data? No.
Let me pull it up real quick. I'll tell you where.
Not sure whether it is, but anyway, what I can tell you from my experience is that I don't use those, and I'd rather just use the HTML output, the fragment HTML stuff, because here I mean it's very little HTML you need for that, and the thing is what you can do, and just keep in mind that this is nothing for the end user really. Yeah, so you should expect that these things, the setup of standard XSteps should be done by a little bit more skilled people. That and then you should have somebody there as well that knows at least a little bit of HTML. That's really helpful. And in that case, so you would have. Let's just do the example of an image, because that's the easiest way. So you would have a source like HTTP something, yeah. That would be a link, and that's basically it. You don't have to put any content here, and that would be the image. But what you can also do here is you can add additional attributes. You can add styling if you want. You can embed it somewhere. Yeah? And the nice thing here is that you can also use parameters. So, for example, address. Yeah. So that's if you have a parameter called address, and then you can put it as a parameter here, like that.
Yes.
Yeah. You name it address. Is it with 1D or with 2D? I always do it wrong, I think.
I think
I'm a terrible speller too.
and maybe if you want to make your SXS flexible so that the user can enter that address, then you can put it as an input, and maybe it's just short text if it's just 30 characters, if that is, or yeah, let's just do it short text here. Short text. Yeah, and then that would be, you can have a default value here as well, but normally you would then, if you use that standard XStep, you would evaluate that here, and then it would be used and replaced in that position, and then you can use that. And you can, for example, what you can also do is, if you want, you can say like h equals h, and then you can also parameterize that. So that's the nice thing. You can have more control, and for the end users, or for those users who use your standard XSteps in the PI sheet setup, you can just prepare certain parameters that they can then use. Well, exactly. And while we add this, maybe also one hint here for you: if you prepare certain standard XSteps, and in that case, I assume that there is one group of people who are more the IT folks, who really set up certain standard XSteps, maybe in a more complicated way, and there are those folks who maintain the master data, who are maybe who do more the masses of data creation and master data creation. Yeah. And
yes, that's correct.
yes, and so then you in your IT team, you can prepare all this here, and then what's probably a good idea is to add something like a help description, something like that, and you can just do this local and evaluate it here, and then the user has to check it in the repository, to see this quote unquote documentation. You just use a long text parameter for your documentation, very simple documentation, what this
Good
is,
idea.
what the parameters are, or something. But I think if you would put it as an input, without any further meaning here in your setup, then the user will also see it when he uses this in the recipe or in the routing, because all input parameters, if you have default values there, maybe I can show it briefly how this would look like. So, for example, you always use fragment HTML because it's easier to enter.
Yep.
Because you get a quick pop-up, not one which takes a little bit longer. To use this SXS, you have the following options, and this does not have to be HTML code, of course, because you wouldn't use it anyway. So like that, and then I'll release that here. Okay, save that, and I'll just create a new. Maybe I give it a name here. Tests 1. Save this, and then You're using routings or recipes? Are you using PP or PPPI, Michael?
PPPI.
Okay. Yeah, because you use the old stuff.
Yeah,
Let's just briefly show this. So I'm going into the recipe here, and go to the XSteps. That's some setup problems here. Okay, and I'll just create an SXS reference like that, and choose that one, and then evaluation. Yeah. You see that's the description, help, or whatever, and you can click on here, and you see the text.
Yes.
Of course, the user could change it here if he wants, but does not make wouldn't have any effect because you wouldn't use that parameter really. Yeah. So that's a little tip. Maybe I don't know. Maybe don't put too much text in it because that would blow up, of course, all your data as well. So because that parameter will still be part of your PI sheet somehow internally, I think.
Yes.
So don't write novels there. So that's just brief some thoughts on that. Maybe a little more that you have asked, but any more questions from your side?
Arne, this is Raghu.
Hi, Raghu.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Just coming from another conference. I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
One is this is a general question. In our client, they are planning to change the plant code from the previous ones to different after the SAP implementation after 2 months. So we have an issue like copying the master recipe from the old plant to the newer one. I'm just trying for the two options. One is copy, and another one is upload the data, then reassign the X steps. But I am not sure which one is the feasible and easiest solution.
Is that in one system or in between two systems?
In one system, same system.
Well, honestly, I've never come across that in my consulting work. So maybe some of the other folks on the phone have any input on that.
With XSteps in future versions, I think there is planned to have the library plant specific, isn't it?
You mean cross-plant?
Yes.
There's already a pilot node available for cross-plant. But I think Raghu means the recipes themselves, so not the XStep, correct?
Yeah. Arne, I think if you have the general repository for the all plants, that will solve this issue because we have a plant.
It's not about the recipes themselves, but for only on the XStep setting. Oh, okay.
No. This is based on recipe, but is somehow attached with the repository as well because the repository is plant specific. If I copy the recipe from one plant to another plant, the reference is cut off.
Yes.
If you have a common repository, then it should be okay.
Yes.
So our case is when I
maybe just while we're on it here, I have your slide with our release history here and the cross plant repository. That's a pilot node here. So this is the number 1124677.
Oh, okay.
And please bear in mind, a pilot node means it's not immediately available. You have to create a message where you say, okay, I want to use that pilot node so that it is then released for your customer.
But it will be
this can be done immediately, right?
Sure. Prito, you were saying?
But so it is planned that this will be available on EHP 5, correct? Or
I cannot comment on this.
Just a question.
Uh,
It was just a question.
Yes. Again, I think I've mentioned this before. Since this is
Okay.
an open community, so it's everybody can hear and
Okay.
see what's happening here. It's not, even if functionality would be in ramp up, I cannot comment on these things because even ramp up is not 100% general available. Yeah, so that's why I would like to, but I cannot.
Yeah, I was just asking because I see if it's a pilot node.
Maybe you've heard this rumor, and maybe there's something on it, but
okay.
And Arne, there are two ways. Current situation is I need to copy all the recipes from a previous plant to another plant. So I am planning to do by computer-aided tool, like is copying each recipes. When I do copy each recipe, it's copying the extras, but the reference is cut off. I need to re-reference all the extras in the master recipe, as well as the material assignment. I need to do it one more time. It's not copied. So in that way, I need to touch up all the recipes, right? Is there any other way? I'm just thinking. I don't have any clue. That I'm just asking. Is there any other easy method to copy the recipe from the old plant to the new one with the extras?
I'm sure somebody could create a report to copy recipes from one plant to another, maybe with also the references remaining intact, but only, of course, if you would have this pilot node installed with the cross-plant repository. That would probably be possible, but I don't know. I don't think there's a standard way to do this. Yeah. So I don't know of something.
Okay. Is there anybody in the group there? Is there any come across the same kind of issue, or any other suggestions?
Usually, as we are a GMP plant, whenever you are, let's say, changing a recipe, even if it gets a new plant, you have to validate everything. So I don't think that our QA would be too happy if we would copy it. But
but I think Ragu means just to ease the initial work, and of course it has to be revalidated. That's sure.
Yes. But the current situation is we need to copy each recipes, then do the reference as well as the material assignment as well as right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that we were copying recipes from one version to a 99 version to do some costing stuff on this 99 version.
That should work because we have the same repository.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but then Raghu, please try this pilot node for your customer, and then if it might be solved already. Yeah?
Okay. So this one needs to be okay.
I don't know, Michael. Did you had some questions? Did you finish with all your questions, or do you have
all the ones that I had sent you? I do have one more, sort of a general question about the PI PCS interface.
Okay.
I was just curious as to on the. I watched the recording on how to set that up. On the equipment side, what's the communication protocol that it's using?
Not quite sure.
Have you ever dealt with?
I can just tell you I have used the technique with ERP and MRI. So I've used the PCS interface to send control recipes to MRI as a destination, and that one was just I don't know whether was it RC based or maybe it was RC based between those two, but I'm not entirely sure. Sorry. Maybe there's also somebody
you were
else.
talking about the sending control recipe to MII.
MI or any other third-party system who would get the
okay.
PIPCS message.
Okay. Just through RFC, I guess we have configured RFC.
Okay, so it's probably RFC then, yes.
Yeah, it should be RFC. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Was that all? Okay.
And in in MII, you only send the control recipes, or did you as well send the PI sheet logic somehow?
Somehow, no. Already explained about this template we created with some customer solution or partner solution included with the work instruction. That is not really the logic exported or sent. It's just sending parameters, and if you on the receiving side know, okay, how a certain instruction is working, then you can just say, okay, I'm just looking for the parameters of this instruction, and then I rebuild it somewhere else. But it's not that flexible structure you can really export, and it's quite a closed system, the PI sheet stuff. So
yeah, because I'm still trying to collect ideas for our future system, with which system we will handle the MES. Will we handle it completely with XSteps, or will we connect it to MII? We are still not 100% sure how to do it.
Yeah, please tell us when you know.
Now we are in contact with SAP.
Okay.
From clinical trials.
Yeah, it always depends on the requirements, the detailed requirements, what you can do and what not. Right.
Is there any?
Yes.
No, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Michael.
I was wondering if you knew anything about communicating with equipment, that semiconductor equipment that uses a SexGem interface.
Does it have an OPC interface as well? OPC
no. No, I know we can talk OPC.
No, not at this time.
No? Okay.
No.
Arne?
Yes.
For SCADA system, another level 2 system, we have to have some kind of MES to connect those systems. Then the MES can be connected to MII. That is the one he's asking for.
He's asking for connection from within the PI sheet to those systems.
Oh.
So,
okay.
I mean, Michael, what you could, of course, always do is contact some of those companies who are doing OPC servers and trying to build a middlware that publishes those data as OPC tags. Okay, that's of course also an option, but that of course includes custom builds or an additional license costs for that third-party thing.
Okay.
Arne, I have one final question. We are sending the information to MII through control recipe, but in MII they are developing the screen like for different phases, a different screen and user interface like mixing, dipping, and everything. So they need some unique identifier from the phase that's saying that this is the mixing phase, this is the dipping phase, or something. Other than the phase short text. So is there any place we can send the information as a symbol validator? through control recipe to identify the particular phase.
You mean the type of a phase, something like that, or what?
Yeah,
I mean,
the
because
class
I mean
of
the phase number is of course also unique, and if you always have a certain type of phase on the same number, this would also work.
The phase number, they have a different recipes, they have a different phase number, but the function is going to be mixing all the time, so they want to have some coding for 4-5 coding in all recipes.
Okay, so what some of my customers did was hold on. By the way, you still see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great, because we had some problems in the beginning. So what a customer of mine did is, first of all of this information here, in theory, you can also evaluate for symbols if you use a custom body implementation. Okay.
Yeah.
So and what one of my customers did is they've used this standard text key, not for the initial purpose. So normally the standard text key can pre-fill your description with certain text, yes. But you can use that standard text key to sort of characterize what this phase is. Yeah, what are you doing here? And then they did some. They even did their generation based on those standard text keys in a very clever way. But of course, you can just evaluate that and then pass it to your external system, and as an additional information. So that's of course possible, or very simple. You just evaluate it manually, because I mean, what you're really doing if you're setting up your XSteps there. You're using certain types of instructions there, and if you know, okay, I'm using these types of standard XSteps for this type of phase, and you don't mix them up between other type of phases, then you can manually pre-value a characteristic just manually, and then use that one and pass it to MRI, and then that's your setup as well. So it's not
can you go to
as elegant, but
the second option?
Pardon?
What did you say about the second option?
Yeah, if you're, for example, you have your setup. Let's just use this library as an example. So every of these folder is meant as a folder for a certain type of phase. Okay. And all of the SXS you use for that kind of phase is in that folder. So that would mean you could all of these. You can have maybe a template for this folder as well. So a template SXS that you always copy, and in that template SXS you have one special parameter you evaluate with the type of phase. It is always for all of these SXS under this folder will be the same. Yes? And then you can use that value as identifier. Yeah. So but depends on how you want to do it. This is maybe more prone to error, because somebody could just drag and drop another standard XSteps from some other place here to that folder, and then you've mixed up again. Yeah. So
I think the standard text would be the better option. I guess, right?
So yeah.
Yeah.
Anything more?
Do you have any experience of sending the user status from MII to SAP once the phase is done, or information from MII to SAP? They have started the phase, or it's like a user.
Yes, process message.
I mean user status. Yeah. User status to update the process order.
I would do it with a process message. Yeah. you then would need to create a new process message destination and a new process message for that, and then you can do that. I mean, that's an open. All the process messages are. This is an open system. You can add new process message types, and I would suggest that.
Okay, process message. Then the process message going to hit the destination. That will trigger the status change in the process order.
Exactly, and in that process message, of course, you need to have a planned order, and if it's on order header level, then the order and then the status, of course, and then you need, of course, to create the function module behind that process message destination that does the bookings. But you can copy an existing destination function module because it's a special kind of function module, because that function module first gets all the information from the message characteristics, and then you can do the rest in a pretty much standard way. But by copying an existing one, you should be fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anything more from the other folks? Peter and Michael?
No, I don't. Not at this time.
Okay. There's another one on the line. Saravana, are you just listening or? No. Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm just listening.
Okay, but no questions.
Yeah, probably I'll be asking in the next session.
Okay. What is your background? I didn't see you before on this session, so.
Yeah, I'm working with the Capgemini India.
Okay.
I'm basically a PPPA consultant.
Okay, so you're in the process industries, pharma industries?
Yeah, pharma industries.
Okay, thanks.
Pharma industries.
Okay. Right, okay. Then if there are no other questions, I thank you a lot for attending. Especially you, Michael, that you got up so early. And hope you can use some of the things that we discussed in your work today.
I think, Michael, if you're sitting in United States, you cannot get outside because it's all of snow, isn't it?
No, not in the Los Angeles area. It's nice.
Oh, you're a lucky one.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
It's different kind of
snow. The country is all under snow.
I thought it was Chicago or something like that, or Boston, which is very a lot of snow.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you very much, Arnie.
You're most welcome, Michael.
I will definitely see you again next session.
Oh, maybe before you drop off, the others drop off. I was thinking maybe I'm creating a new poll in the blog about the timing. Maybe if it's more convenient for other people, 1 hour later or so would be better. So I don't know, but I will. What is your opinion? Is that?
I think it will help the colleagues from US.
What about colleagues in India? Is that still okay, or maybe 2 hours later as well? I believe that staying up